"You're replaceable," the CEO said. The single dad quietly stood up, picked up his toolbox, and walked out. 5 minutes later, the entire building realized the mistake. Ethan had worked at the manufacturing company for 11 years. He wasn't the loudest employee. He never chased promotions or office politics. As a single father raising his 9-year-old daughter, Ava, every extra hour he worked meant another sacrifice at home. Yet he never complained. He simply did his job better than anyone else. Whenever a machine failed, people called Ethan. Whenever production stopped, Ethan found the solution. He believed actions spoke louder than titles. One Monday morning, the company's CEO, Victor Hayes, gathered department managers for an emergency meeting. Production numbers had dropped, and Victor was furious. He blamed supervisors. He blamed technicians. Finally, his eyes stopped on Ethan. "You think you're special because everyone asks for your help," Victor said loudly. The conference room became silent. Ethan calmly replied, "I'm just doing my job." Victor laughed. "Anyone could do your job." Several employees looked at one another but remained silent. Ethan slowly closed his notebook. "If that's true," he said respectfully, "you won't need me anymore." He picked up his toolbox, thanked his co-workers for the years they had worked together, and quietly walked out. Nobody stopped him. Not because they agreed with the CEO, because they couldn't believe what had just happened. Within an hour, a critical production line suddenly shut down. Engineers searched for the problem. Nothing worked. Another machine failed, then another. Orders worth millions of dollars were delayed before lunchtime. Victor demanded immediate repairs. The maintenance team exchanged nervous glances. "Ethan usually handled systems like these," one technician admitted. Victor frowned. "Figure it out." Hours passed. The problems only became worse. Late that afternoon, the company's oldest client arrived for a scheduled inspection. Instead of seeing a smooth operation, they found silent machines, frustrated employees, and unfinished orders. The client postponed signing a major contract. The financial loss was enormous. Meanwhile, Ethan wasn't thinking about the company. He was helping Ava build a small bookshelf for her bedroom. She smiled proudly while handing him screws from the toolbox. "Are you going back to work tomorrow?" she asked. Ethan smiled. "I'll find honest work. That's what matters." The following morning, Victor called every maintenance company in the region. Several experts visited. None could solve the complicated system failures completely. Finally, one senior engineer quietly said, "There's only one person who understands these machines better than anyone." Victor knew exactly who he meant. That afternoon, he drove to Ethan's modest home. When Ethan opened the door, Victor noticed paint. Stains on the floor where father and daughter had been building furniture together. Ava politely greeted the visitor before returning inside. Victor looked uncomfortable. "I came to apologize." Ethan listened silently. "I judged your value without understanding your contribution." "I was wrong." Ethan folded his arms. "It wasn't about me. It was about respecting people." Victor nodded. "I understand now." Instead of demanding his old position back, Ethan made one request. "If I return, every employee deserves to be treated with dignity, whether they're a cleaner, technician, or manager." Victor agreed immediately. When Ethan returned to the factory the next day, employees quietly applauded. Within hours, he identified the hidden cause of the failures. A small software update had created a chain of mechanical errors that no one else had noticed. Production restarted before sunset. The delayed client returned the following week. This time, they watched the factory running smoothly and signed an even larger agreement after seeing how the company had responded to its mistakes. Victor addressed the entire workforce during a company meeting. "I once believed leadership meant knowing all the answers." He looked toward Ethan. "I've learned that leadership begins with respecting the people who make success possible." The room erupted in applause. Months later, Victor introduced a new company policy requiring executives to spend 1 day each month working alongside frontline employees. Managers repaired equipment. Executives packed shipments. Office leaders learned how every role contributed to the company's success. The workplace changed completely. Employees felt heard. Productivity improved. Turnover dropped. One evening, Ava visited the factory during a family open house. She proudly watched her father explain a machine to several young apprentices. "Dad," she whispered, Are you important here? Ethan smiled and gently squeezed her hand. Everyone here is important. Years later, people often asked Victor what the most expensive mistake of his career had been. He never mentioned a failed investment or a bad business decision. Instead, he smiled and answered, "The day I told a good man anyone could do his job. If he hadn't walked away, I might never have learned how valuable people truly are." If this story touched your heart, remember that every worker deserves respect, no matter their title. Skills can be taught, but character, dedication, and integrity are priceless. Share this story with someone who believes great leaders value people before profits, and subscribe for more emotional stories with unforgettable endings.